Baltimore. This is Late Night Baltimore, and it is live. And you are live, and I am live, and it is what? Late night. Everybody sees the late night because it's
Fez
past
is here.
10:30, and Fez is here.
I'm
And he's
here.
at the controls.
I'm back.
He's at the main
And I'm ready
controls.
to rock and roll.
And now we're rocking and rolling. Okay, we are gonna go over the big stories. The big stories of the season. Let me adjust that. Now, the big stories of the season. Well, in Baltimore, the big story. Is that light on in the back of that? The microphone? That one down? That one. On the can on the
Down there, yes.
Okay, that means it's all good. Okay, Fez is on working on the back scenes, behind the camera and in front of the camera and behind everything. All right, we're going to go over some stories that we found interesting this year. The Ravens are the top team in the AFC. The Dolphins are 6th seed now, but that's all right. Okay, the Cowboys won a lot of games at home, but not too many on the road. On the home, they won by some wide ass margins.
Yes, Dallas was 8-0 8-0 at home and 4-5-0 on the road.
Yeah, 4-5-0 and 8-0, but they got themselves, they inched up for the 2nd seed. Very mediocre on the road, I might say. Because the Eagles collapsed, they were what, 10-1?
10-1, and they finished 11-6.
11-6.
Including losing 2 of the last 3 to the Giants, Cardinals, Giants.
Yeah, they had it all set up. And they went into total collapse. Historic almost. With the Giants.
But they called Miami the fraud.
No, Miami's not the fraud. We'll get to them. In fact, we will go to them now. Well, so the Eagles lost, and they lost the division.
Yes.
The Dolphins have the most trolled quarterback in the history of the league. By the rest of the league and by his former coach. But now he has an outstanding coach, and they're giving him a lot of grief, and they're giving Tua a lot of grief because they lost some games there at the end, and they allowed Buffalo to win the division. Somehow, Buffalo was 6-6. Miami had a lot of injuries, but Tua led the league in passing, broke some team records for passing. I think he had 103 passing rating. I think he played in every game. But down there in Miami, that's not good enough. They're saying that he shouldn't get a contract extension. Well, most of the team is on injured reserve. You can't win if you don't have your team on the field, right?
Yes. He was despite not having he was the first Dolphin since 1995, I believe, to lead the NFL in passing yards.
Also, he's starting in the Pro Bowl, and that's pretty damn good. Now we think of Kansas City because that's who they're going to play. Kansas City seemed to have taken the year off, but somehow they're the 3rd seed in the AFC, and you can't remember them playing one good game. That's very strange, mostly and ironically because of their defense.
An amazing thing is that Patrick Mahomes had a 92.6 quarterback rating.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs were the second scoring defense, and the league in most quarterback pressures.
Yeah, for some reason, no offense and all defense and third seed, despite being as if they phoned in their season. So something's wrong there. Maybe Mahomes is injured. Not sure. Right? And we got another thing. Seemed like, although there's no statistics to back this up, but it just seemed to me an observation was that a lot less offensive holding calls this year than ever before.
Yes, because maybe got to the point where pass rushers are so fast and getting so good that these offensive linemen are like hooking the players when they come around. So
And also,
they don't want to be calling it every play or every other play because how good
yes,
pass rushers are.
And also, it ruins a whole drive when a team gets 10-yard penalty for offensive holding. It slows the games down a lot. But that's just a anecdotal on my part. I'd have to check into that, but it didn't seem like many holding calls at all. But on the flip side of that, there were a lot of bad calls this year. A lot of famous bad calls, like the Dolphins played the Eagles. That was very strange. The Dolphins had all penalties called, and the Eagles had no penalties called. And also another game ripoff was the Bills won that game over the Giants.
Yeah,
That was a ripoff.
yes.
And then another.
If that wasn't pass interference, nothing is.
Yeah, and that put Buffalo into the playoffs and won their division. And then also the Dallas game. Dallas was given a game.
Detroit was the worst play call. Officiating call was calling against Detroit for a legal substitution.
Yeah, even though they reported.
Yeah.
And then but going back to Miami, because I forgot an interesting point. They even had a 1,000-yard rusher in Raheem Mostert.
Yes.
Well, there were too many.
Another thing is Raheem Mostert had even though he missed a lot of time, he had 18 rushing touchdowns.
But for some reason, like every team, and especially in that Bills game, Miami decided that they weren't so much going to run for some reason, and they threw when they should have run because they had a lot of good running backs.
Devon AJ had in the first quarter when they had a long drive, he had 55 yards rushing. Then 8 carries, and for the rest of the game, he got 2 carries for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's odd. The old adage is don't go away from running when it works, but everybody does it. Going back to the injuries, not Miami's, we'll go to get that at the end. But we'll talk about a couple of big injuries this year were Joe Burrows and Aaron Rodgers that affected. I mean, I don't think the Jets would have been much better. They would have been better, not by much, but the Bengals, even though their backup was good.
Was Aaron Rodgers going to survive with that offensive line the Jets had? They didn't do anything to get their offensive line any better. And now they have all that money sunk into Aaron Rodgers. It can be hard to sign, top players.
Yeah. They aren't going to be good, I don't think, for a while. We go down to Lamar. He made great strides this year. Complete makeover. He had discipline, leadership, maturity, focus, and he had complete mastery over the new offensive schemes as drawn up by Mike Monkton, right? Is that the fellow's name?
Todd Monken, yes.
Todd Monken. Todd Monken?
Yes.
Todd Monken. Yes, if Fez knows the names. So
now here's the thing about
he'll probably be the MVP of the season, but
yes, the Lamar had the because you can't count Kirk Cousins didn't have enough attempts to qualify for this. He was out too long, but Lamar had the third highest passer rating
Yeah. And how
behind.
many yards rushing did he have?
Okay, I got the numbers here. I will tell you.
Even though he made a lot of smart get out of bounds, ran out of bounds a lot, and he gave himself up a lot. While Fez is looking that up, we'll
Lamar had 821 yards rushing, 5 rushing touchdowns.
820 yards rushing. How many passing?
821
Rushing.
rushing, 5 touchdowns. Passing, Lamar had 3,670 yards passing, 67.2% completion, 24 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions, quarterback rating of 102.7.
Oh, that's awesome, Lamar.
He was sacked 37 times, which is low considering how many times they probably count going off and running if had negative.
And yes, that's true. He really, really did step up this year. They were really smart to pay him, do his contract over. That all worked out great. And while we're
Also, thinking about the candidate for Rookie of the Year, Zay Flowers, had the most receptions for a Raven rookie, 77 catches.
oh, that's pretty good,
As they finally they got their
especially considering
first pick
how bad their first
as
picks
good
usually
as
do.
well we here knew about his talent. Fez was on that train, the Zayflit train, early because I knew how good he was going through college. My now is analyzing that, and the thing is that unlike other like Rashad Bateman, who I knew had the talent, he couldn't stay on the field, but Zay Flowers was able to stay on the field. So
Yeah, especially needed because Mark Andrews was knocked out early. Okay, let's also say that the rain falls in Baltimore. You can hear it back there. We also say that the most classless moment of the season was when the Saints went for a touchdown when they were in the victory formation at the end of the game last week against the Falcons, and that was really bad.
that was not only classless, it was also be dangerous for future teams. Someone get hurt. So when people go on the victory, they expect that now the defense is going to not be letting up.
And now also we go to the Bill Belichick is still not out of. He's still in New England. A lot of people are saying the last couple of bad seasons means that the Tom Brady years were all up to because of Tom Brady. All those dynasties. But using that logic, Baker Mayfield got the Tampa Bay into the playoffs, and when Tom Brady couldn't get the Buccaneers into the playoffs.
Well, he got in the playoffs with a losing record, and but the Bucks actually had a winning record. So
Oh, he did get. That's right. He did get in the playoffs, but the Bucks had a better record with Baker Mayfield. So if you use that logic, Baker Mayfield is the greatest quarterback in NFL history since he's better than Tom Brady.
Yeah, and
But the New England's not made a decision because Bill Belichick said he'll give up doing the talent aid, being the talent
general manager.
general manager. That's right. Another coach who showed people was Mike Tomlin. Well, he didn't show them a lot. Anybody who knows football knows he's a really great coach, but I don't know where they come from. They were another team that mysteriously were in the playoffs out of nowhere, but they lost their best player, T.J. Watt. So can't see them going much farther without their best player.
Yeah, T.J. Watt made that defense elite. I mean, one of the best.
And here's the other thing. The Rams, they snuck up on everybody. They won 7 out of 8 to get in the playoffs in the NFC, just losing to the Ravens here in overtime. Okay, we brought it up before. We'll go back. Texas had C.J. Stroud, and he
Will be rookie of the
year, and he looks like he's going to be an elite quarterback in the league if he isn't already. They also got into the playoffs. So their coach, his name?
Marco Ryan.
Ryan.
Should be coach of the year.
The coach of the year.
Won the division after being 3-13. 3-14.
Yeah.
3-14.
And to add the layers to that story, the Texans improved when they did not have Deshaun Watson. And the other team, the Browns, improved, and they did not have Deshaun Watson, who was injured. And Joe Flacco, who was quarterback of the Ravens, quarterbacked the Browns into the playoffs. And that's very strange. That's an odd story. Joe Flacco, who used to be quarterback here in Baltimore.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting because I believe Cleveland will be playing at Houston.
Yeah, so the stories all start intertwining together like a good Seinfeld episode. What do you think of C.J. Stroud, Fez?
I think C.J. Stroud was a great pick, and besides that, and the first quarterback, I don't know since when, from Ohio State to actually be as good as he was supposed to be, advertised. And Deshaun Watson not only made his team better by actually not playing, and then Joe Flacco came in and played better, but they were able to build Houston's team
to all those draft choices.
Those draft choices, where they got 3 first-round draft choices and more, I believe.
And another team that collapsed at the end was Jacksonville.
Yeah,
they finished 9-8, even though most of the year they were thinking that they might get the number 1 or number 2 seed.
When they were when they got their bye, they were 6-2.
Yeah. Well, we can only think that their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, must have been a lot more injured than he let on. Okay, Aaron Rodgers played 4 plays this season.
Well, that's that's about $15 million a snap.
Oh yeah, there you go. I think a snap.
I'll do that.
$15 million.
Jordan
Love, the current Packers quarterback, he
led his team to the playoffs.
And he's really good. So Green Bay gave up their quarterback, who was Hall of Fame, and got Jordan Love, and he turns out, especially in the second half of the season, to be outstanding. And the Packers, just another team that came out of nowhere and made the playoffs. That's very weird. But that's how it goes in the NFL. 7 teams get in each conference. Other big scenarios. Let's see.
When they talk about good teams, bad teams, as soon as the playoffs start, they already had the order of the 1 through 18
Oh yeah, here you go.
set. And the Bears have the first pick. Panthers don't even have the first pick.
Well, maybe that Bryce Young will come out of up
Because
and
I think
be
they
something.
traded
I don't know. He
their
didn't
pick
play. He was hurt.
to
That
the
was another
Bears
injury.
to get Bryce Young. Hopefully, them.
And then the Bears, Fields is pretty good.
They had the
Or he
first pick.
was. Okay, the other big stories of the year was the weird play, what was in the news a lot, was when the Eagles would do that scrim and they push all the players forward to get a first down on short yardage. Well,
But I think they should end it because it got ridiculous.
they might end it.
It had they were allowing so offensive linemen picking up running backs to push them forward.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. But the good news about the whole thing is, it seemed like only one team really benefited from it, the Eagles. And also, I like the idea that they stopped calling it the tush push, which kind of a cringe name, as they say, and the brotherly shove is a little better. At least it is a pun on. At least it connects to Philadelphia being the city of brotherly love. That brotherly love, though, talk about brotherly love. You watch that play. I'm just kidding around, everybody.
Kind of got shoved back though
Yeah.
when losing 5 of the last 6.
Don't know why they went so downhill so fast. What happened to Jalen Hurts and all?
Well, I think a lot had to do with their defense, which was like best defense until the Super Bowl, and then they completely
to last year's
horrible.
Super Bowl. Their defense, it's like you know how like the thing about the serial killer kills someone and then he takes their powers. It's like the Chiefs beat them, and they took their defense.
Yeah.
In the Super Bowl, and then had their defense all this season, and I don't know who was the Eagles' defense this season. It wasn't any good. Jalen Hurts, not sure. Maybe he also is injured. Don't know. But we'll do the defensive player of the year is T.J. Watt for the Steelers. Offensive players of the year that aren't quarterback, Tyreek Hill is in the running there, and Chris McCaffrey.
Well, Tyreek Hill, when he got in a horse collar tackle that wasn't called. First of all, Miami would not have lost that game to Tennessee because in the end, those 2 touchdowns wouldn't have mattered. Miami would have scored at least another 10 points or at least 2 touchdowns.
Well, Miami blew that game, and they lost some good big games in the end. But at least they have a better excuse than most. They have a lot of injuries, but maybe they should get a defensive coordinator that Mike McDaniel can relate to better, and maybe do something about the special teams.
Yeah, special teams did not play well.
In the AFC, I guess who's Marco Ryan, Texans coach of the year?
He's got to be coach of the year.
And Dan Campbell's up there too, though. The Lions finally made
Dan Campbell would be the
in the NFC.
NFC.
Well, to preview the Kansas City, we'll do that maybe later in the week. But it's snowing there. That favors Miami because it's a variable that nobody knows about, and that helps the road team and the underdog. And Miami is underdog in that game by 4 points. So we'll go into that game further.
Yeah, because what helps is
next time
when it's snowing, what you want to do is run the ball and then and Miami has a running game, and maybe they'll stick to the running game, and they'll discover it
Yeah,
that they have it.
and stay with it. And
Because,
then if you had to say one last big story of the NFL this year, wasn't negative, was Taylor Swift being all over the place, being at all the Kansas City games. That's nice. All right, that's all for tonight. We'll be back later this week. Don't forget
we're going to give you
Norm.
a lot of playoff coverage, give you all the insights
Yeah.
that other people think they know, but
And remember, Norm Peterson talked about this show and not team anything to do with the Bears.
yeah.
And Morgan Fairchild. So subscribe, please. Really, you gotta subscribe. We gotta get to that 1K subscription. So like down there. Like and subscribe if you would for the Baltimore late night Baltimore program. And until next time, we say good night. Stay dry. It's raining out there. You have any words, Fez?
Well, maybe if we can get to that 1,000 mark, we can maybe give away a shirt, and by that time, might be a late night Baltimore shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just something to send it
Oh,
there.
that's something good. Okay. Good night, everybody.